All right, this is Matt Brown, and this is my digital citizenship training for Wallace County Schools. So, first thing you might be asking yourself, what exactly is digital citizenship? Well, it refers to the responsibility of the use of technology by anybody who uses computers, internet, digital devices to engage with society on any level, especially in the school setting. So, why should this matter? Okay, what does it mean to me? Well, there are two different types of citizenship, and they're pretty basic. There's good and there's bad. Well, with good digital citizenship, this engages students to show them how to connect and communicate appropriately. It teaches them to empathize and build relationships while using these digital tools. And then there's the bad citizenship. And this includes what we see a lot. And this is its own pandemic across the entire world. But this includes cyberbullying, inappropriate social media use, a lack of safety knowledge about internet usage. So that's why it matters. Because in the school setting, if we do not use our classrooms to teach this, they may never reach good citizenship status. They may end up learning from others who are already fall under the bad digital citizenship. Okay. So why should students and teachers become digital students, especially the teachers? You might be wondering, so if you've been here for 20 years, why do I need to learn this now? Okay. Well, first of all, you need to learn to respect yourself and others digitally. Students need to know how their actions affect others online, and those who do not have access need to be helped and taught by people who do have a lot of internet access, and they need to know the law that you can't take things out without permission, which plagiarism is a big deal, especially online. It's very easy to do. It's important to teach them to respect other people's work. To educate yourselves and students as well, the students need to understand how to evaluate the accuracy, perspective, and validity of digital media and social posts. They need to communicate online appropriately. They need to learn to be careful when sharing personal information, and to protect yourself and teach them how to protect themselves online. They need to be protected from online intruders with software. They need to learn how to use that to build trust so they can come to you when they issue some inappropriate encounter, and to establish limits on technology used to build a balance between online and real world. Okay, so how are we supposed to teach digital citizenship? Well, the first thing we need to really focus on is informational literacy. This is a big one in schools. To conduct proper Google searches. I'm sure a lot of you have had issues where you might assign a research paper, let's say over, this is a random one, let's say Beethoven, okay? How many kids come up to you and say, I don't know what to look at. I don't know what to search. What do I look for? Okay, so teaching them just how to use these websites, these search engines, to find the appropriate information. And on top of that, be able to differentiate useful information, from spam. Okay? The next one, again, a huge one, cyberbullying. From the get-go, to teach digital communication and etiquette early on. And it's important to set clear boundaries and have a list of digital citizenship rules posted somewhere. Like all classrooms should at least have their rules posted somewhere, not just by word of mouth. It needs to be a hard copy on a wall. Same thing needs to be with your digital citizenship rules. The rules of internet usage need to be posted somewhere where they can see it, and so they know what to expect and what the consequences of their actions could be. Okay. The next one is online safety. This we want to teach them to promote online safety so they are less likely to fall victim to threats that wait online. Lots of spam, lots of scary stuff out there to fall victim to. And also, you also want to teach the students to prevent themselves from posting personal information about themselves and others, which again is a huge deal. People are not afraid to put every last detail about themselves online. That's kind of what we're trying to avoid. Okay, then there's digital responsibility. They need to become aware and navigate potential threats. Viruses is a big one. Websites they shouldn't be going to, and downloads that could easily contract a virus on the computer, which would lead into piracy and hacking. We don't want any of that. And then you also need to teach them about consequences of online plagiarism and inappropriate online content. That's key. That's huge right there. And then finally, health and emotional awareness. It's also important. We use technology, and it's great, and it does wonderful things, but sometimes it can consume even us adults. But it's also important for us to encourage limited online exposure and incorporate breaks in your lessons. Okay? And it's important to make sure kids take a break from the computer when somebody is talking to them, and because face-to-face conversations are still vital in this world. I mean, that's never going to go away, and it shouldn't. It's important to teach them that they still need to acknowledge somebody who is talking to them, whether they're using their phone or a computer or any type of mobile device. They need to look up, look them in the eye. Okay, so one thing we need to ask our school is, are we ready? And what I mean by that, the R in ready means remind, and it's just reminding students to be mindful of what information and opinions they make public. We see 10 years down the road, they may have posted something when they were 12 years old, 22 years old. It comes back to bite them. Employers notice things like that, and it could affect their future. Encourage to veer away from technology when engaging others face to face. Again, it's about being social. Accountability, again, key. Create a student use guide to teach students to properly use the internet, and the classroom is the perfect time to remind them again. If they don't get it here, it's hard telling where they're learning this from. To demonstrate, not only do we have to teach them how to do this, but we also have to be good models for digital citizenship. We have to promote a positive online culture in our classroom. And then finally, be a culture of yes. Not everyone has to be locked. Not everything has to be locked down in order to be safe. Start teaching positive digital citizenship when using digital tools. We don't have to lock up every single website that we think might be dangerous to students. But if we are able to give them the tools to figure out what is appropriate and what is inappropriate, that's the purpose of why we're doing this. Okay, so this one, just some federal law reviews that we probably need to touch up on because they do coincide with digital citizenship. And the first one, the Child Internet Protection Act. School districts are required by the CIPA to have technology measures and policies in place that protect students from harmful materials. Basically, this means that students' internet access has to be filtered. Websites containing harmful content and inappropriate sites are attempted to be blocked. That is absolutely has to be in place. The COPA applies to commercial companies, limits their ability to collect personal information from children under the age of 13. So Google advertising is turned off for apps for education users. No personal student information is collected for any commercial purposes. And then finally, FERPA, Family Education Rights and Protection Act. This protects the privacy of students' education records and gives parents the rights to review those records. Schools may disclose directory information, but parents may request that, but schools do not give that out. Okay, so a lot of schools around across the country are eligible for E-rates, and under this program, eligible schools and public libraries, they can apply for discounted eligible telecommunications, internet access, and things like that. So who's eligible for this? Pretty much all K through 12 public schools, public libraries, nonprofit K through 12 schools, public schools, and libraries whose funding is separate from the school. Okay? And what is included in this? Internet access and data transmission services, manage internal broadband services, basic maintenance of internal connections, and these things are needed for broadband connectivity, and is used for educational purposes in the school and in libraries. And the discounts can range from anywhere from 20 to 90%, determined kind of by region. Okay, but there are requirements for an E-rate application. First of all, the CIPA compliance schools must learn about internet safety during the school year, so they have to be completely compliant with the CIPA. And also filtered internet. Schools must filter internet content to protect students from any harmful material. Hey, next I'm going to take us to our school handbook. Just give me a second here. We're going to scroll all the way down to page... little too big to put on a slide for the staff, but I wanted to bring your attention to right here, which we do have, at least in our student handbook, we have language talking about the CIPA. We are in compliance with the CIPA. The school district implements content filtering to restrict access to child pornography, obscene depictions, or other materials harmful to minors. But, however, the school district does not guarantee the effectiveness of what we have right now for our filtering software. Okay? So here are just a few bullets that I think are really good for that we have in language for students, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Excuse me. Again, right here, using the system to obtain or, for pornography, sexual suggestive content, downloading, installing unauthorized software, trespassing in folders that they're not authorized to, violating any laws that might be suggest slander, using profanity, obscenity, discriminatory language. So what we have so far in our language in our student handbook is really good about things that we expect them, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And down here in our student handbook, we have what's going to happen on the first offense, second offense, third offense. Basically, by the 3 strikes, you're out, lost computer access for the remainder of the school year. And then, so just to kind of sum up what we're trying to accomplish here is that the educators have the responsibility to teach students about good digital citizenship. The classroom is one of the few places that they can learn it appropriately. They can learn it anywhere. They can learn it real well outside of the school, but we have the responsibility to make sure that they get the good side of the digital citizenship. Yeah? They need to be taught to respect others online and what's okay to say online, what's not okay to say online, how to filter what information about themselves they want to put online. Again, they need to understand how to evaluate the accuracy, perspective, and validity of digital media and social posts. They also need to understand the consequences of plagiarism, stealing someone else's work online. Okay? They need to protect themselves from the dangers of the internet. There are a lot of dangers on the internet, and it's so crucial that we teach them those dangers and what can be done to prevent that. Protect their identity, not give out post personal and sensitive information. Okay? Again, what we're trying to avoid with the kids is to avoid cyberbullying, inappropriate social media use, and lack of safety knowledge about internet usage. Educators must model. We have to be the ones that model this for them, because if we don't model them, they're probably not going to follow it. Okay? And here are my resources.